next we're going to have Winston Pendergast, who's going to introduce our final speaker and then call the march. Winston.
All right. Who's in the house?
Winston!
Housing crisis. We are here because we are in a crisis. We are here because Governor Comer doesn't want to listen to us. There is somebody else in New York who is sick and tired of being sick and tired. And she has traveled all the way from Buffalo back to Long Island, where the coalition has been formed. And she has seen what is happening. These organizations that are gathering here tonight has invited all the candidates to be here today. But so far, only 2 persons, and I dare say the 2 people who really care, are shown up here tonight. Here is a woman who has been fighting for justice for black and brown children all over the states for a long, long time. She's tired of the way how the system is set up, structuring her children to go into prison. But she has also heard about the housing crisis, and she's here to lend her support. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I introduce to some, and I tell others of a wonderful woman who is brave enough to throw her hat and her heels in the ring. Put your hands together for Cynthia Nixon.
Hello, New York! Whose housing crisis?
Our housing crisis!
I can't hear you. Whose housing crisis?
Cuomo's housing crisis!
Whose?
Cuomo!
Whose?
Cuomo!
I'm Cynthia Nixon, and I'm running for governor of New York State. And I'm proud to be standing here with you today with renters, not with landlords. With people, not with wealthy corporate donors. I got into this race because of my mother, because she always believed in me and she always stood up for me, and what's most important, she taught me how to stand up and fight back. Because from the age of 6 on, it was just me and my mother, and we lived in a 1-bedroom, 5-flight walk-up together, just her and me. And after we had been there a few years, she came to me one night very agitated, and she said she had been suspicious about the rent that we had been paying, and so she had investigated, and she found out that the landlord had been lying to us about our rent. Is that right? And she was so angry. She was so angry because the rent had been so hard for her to come by, but more than being angry, she was proud of herself. She was proud because she was suspicious, and she investigated, and she caught him at what he was up to, and she held him accountable, and she held him accountable retroactively. She got our rent reduced and our overpayments returned. She stood up and she fought back, and she won. And today, what we are doing here is we are standing up and we are fighting back, because New York has a housing crisis. A crisis where rents are skyrocketing. Have wages kept up with rents?
No!
Not even close. Under Andrew Cuomo, New York's renters have been left behind. He promised stronger rent regulations. He promised he would protect tenants. Has he delivered?
No!
He has not. Under Andrew Cuomo's tenure, we have lost 75 rent-regulated apartments. And today, more than half of low-income tenants pay more than half of their income in New York.
Yeah, so you're in the front,
Over
right?
2 million renters in New York State live on the brink of eviction. Is that the way it ought to be?
No!
So why is this happening? Because of who?
Governor Cuomo!
Because he has made his choice. He has picked his side. He has surrounded himself with real estate developers, corporate landlords, Wall Street hedge fund moguls who are some of his biggest campaign contributors. It's hard to do the wrong thing, to do the right thing when you're getting millions of dollars to do what's wrong.
Right.
We need to change the equation. We have to stand up and fight back, and that's why my campaign has proposed the most progressive and the most expansive tenant protection program in the country. It is called Rent Justice for All. What is it called?
Rent justice for all!
That's right, and you know what it's going to do? It'll provide affordable housing to more than 3 million households. It'll help curb our state's homelessness crisis, and it'll prevent thousands of evictions. Here's what it's going to do. First, we are going to strengthen our existing rent laws by closing the loopholes like MCIs, like vacancy bonuses, because landlords and real estate developers are using those loopholes now to take homes out of rent stabilization. It has to stop. Second, we're going to expand rent stabilization laws to the entire state and to all apartments with 6 units or more, not just those built before 1974, but all of them built after 2. And third, we're going to protect tenants from unjust evictions across the state. We will pass just cause legislation to prevent landlords from evicting tenants without a good reason and to protect tenants from massive rent hikes, because as any tenant knows, a rent hike is the same as an eviction if you can't afford to pay. Rent justice is at the core of my vision for a New York that works for all of us, just not the few. It starts with housing for all of us. For who?
All of us!
But it doesn't stop there. When I'm governor, I will also fight for great schools. For who? All of us! It's time to stop pushing white children towards college and children of color into the criminal justice system. When I am governor, I will fight for health care. For who?
All of us!
Making sure every single New Yorker is guaranteed their human right to health care by adopting a single-payer Medicare for all system. When I am governor, I will fight for justice. For who?
All of us!
We will eliminate cash bail in New York State. It's about time. We will legalize marijuana here. It's time to end mass incarceration and stop the over-policing of communities of color. When I am governor, I will fight to make New York a safe home. For who?
All of us!
We will make New York a true sanctuary state. We will provide driver's licenses to all qualified immigrants. And we will at long last pass the New York Dream Act. It is time to build a new New York. A New York that belongs to who?
All of us!
To the many, not the few. New York is a 2-to-1 Democratic state. We need a governor who is as bold and progressive as her people. Governor Cuomo has $31 million in the bank and counting, but we have each other.